Howdy, folks, and welcome to the Cowboys versus Ninjas podcast,
Oh, yeah.
where we wrangle the most exciting stories out there.
Mm-hmm.
Get ready for a tale that'll leave you wanting more, all in a fun, epic way, with masterful storytelling that'll keep you craving more tales of samurai and gunslingers. I'm Adrian, your host for this rootin' tootin' ride.
And I'm Julia, here to help us unpack the story and separate the historical fact from the fiction.
Today we're moseying on over to sleepy Oakville, a town where life used to be as peaceful as a lazy Sunday afternoon.
Uh-huh.
That is until a string of robberies shook things up.
Oh.
But these weren't your typical smash and grab jobs.
Right.
These were precise, professional, almost artistic in their execution.
Mm-hmm.
Something just didn't add up.
Right from the start, we get that classic fish out of water feeling.
Yeah.
This sleepy town is suddenly thrown into chaos, and it makes us crave the arrival of a hero, someone who can restore order.
Right.
And that's where our unconventional lawman Sheriff Takeda steps in. He's a retired ninja from Tokyo seeking a peaceful life in Oakville.
Really?
Imagine a stoic, highly trained ninja trying to blend into a world of cowboys and saloons.
Yeah.
It's a recipe for both humor and conflict.
Exactly. And as the story unfolds, we start to see glimpses of Takeda's past through his sharp observations. He notices things others miss.
Right.
A footprint slightly out of place.
Yeah.
A door creaking a certain way. These subtle clues hint at his ninja training, his heightened senses, years of observation and deduction.
Yeah.
It's like Sherlock Holmes with a katana.
It's fascinating how the author uses these small details to build suspense and intrigue.
Right.
Each observation is like a breadcrumb leading us deeper into Takeda's hidden world. And then things take a darker turn.
Oh.
The robberies escalate, and Takeda finds a scrap of black cloth at one of the crime scenes. This seemingly insignificant detail is actually a major clue.
Hold on. You're saying a piece of fabric is a game changer.
Absolutely. This isn't just any fabric. It's described as having a particular weave, a faint scent of sandalwood incense.
Huh.
These specific details point towards the Kage clan, Takeda's old ninja clan,
Oh, wow.
and his sworn enemies.
No way.
It's the first real indication that his past is catching up with him.
And just to drive the point home, he later finds a shuriken embedded in his porch post with a note attached.
Oh my gosh.
The betrayer lives. Debts will be repaid.
Wow.
Chills, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
This message isn't just a threat, it's a declaration. It raises the stakes and forces Takeda to confront his past and the danger it brings to Oakville.
Right.
The use of the word betrayer hints at a history of conflict and unresolved issues within the Kage clan. We're left wondering what exactly happened back in Japan,
Yeah.
and how is it connected to these robberies in Oakville.
And that brings us to Takeda's internal struggle.
Right.
He came to Oakville to escape his violent past, but now innocent lives are in danger. His desire for peace clashes with his duty to protect this town that has become his new home.
Yeah.
This dilemma really resonates with that classic Western theme of the lone hero haunted by his past, forced to defend a community.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But here it's layered with the added complexity of the ninja code honor duty and the burden of past allegiances. And so Takeda decides to confront the Kage. But he can't exactly leap across rooftops in broad daylight in Oakville.
Right. He's a ninja in cowboy boots.
Yeah.
How do you think he blends his ninja skills with this Wild West setting?
That's where the ingenuity of the storytelling comes in. Imagine instead of disappearing in a puff of smoke, he uses the cover of the dust storm. Instead of grappling hooks, maybe he utilizes the old mine shafts and tunnels beneath Oakville.
Wow.
It's about adaptation and using what's available to his advantage.
That's clever. Turning the environment into his own ninja playground.
Yeah.
But what about fighting? Surely he can't just pull out a katana in a saloon brawl.
Well, he could, but that wouldn't be very subtle, would it?
Right.
Think about quick, precise strikes disguised as barroom brawling, using everyday objects, a rope, a chair, even a poker as improvised weapons.
Oh.
Remember, ninjas are masters of deception and adapt into their surroundings.
So it's less about flashy moves and more about effectiveness and the element of surprise.
Exactly.
Okay.
And don't underestimate the psychological aspect.
Right.
Ninjas were known for their intimidation tactics. A well-placed shadow, a whispered rumor. These can be as effective as any weapon.
Wow.
Takeda doesn't just have to defeat his enemies. He has to disrupt their plans, sow discord among them, and make them fear the unseen.
So we've got stealth combat and a touch of psychological warfare, all blended into this Wild West setting. It's like a ninja MacGyver.
Yeah.
But he still needs to find those scrolls before the rival clan tears Oakville apart looking for them. How does he even begin?
Remember, Takeda was trained by the Kage?
Right.
He knows their patterns, their hiding places.
Yeah.
He might look for subtle markings, coded messages, hidden in plain sight.
Oh.
It's a treasure hunt with deadly consequences where the clues are hidden in the very fabric of Oakville.
Okay, so he's on the case, but he's also trying to maintain his cover as sheriff.
Right.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Does he have anyone he can confide in? Anyone in town who knows his secret?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
The story doesn't reveal that, leaving it open to interpretation. Maybe Takeda chooses to bear this burden alone, or perhaps there's someone he trusts, someone who suspects there's more to their sheriff than meets the eye.
And just as the tension is building, Takeda finds a black origami crane on his doorstep, folded with precision and intent.
Wow.
This isn't a threat, it's a summons, right?
The origami crane holds a deep meaning in Japanese culture. It represents peace, longevity, hope, but here it's twisted into something more ominous.
Right.
It's a callback to Takeda's past, a summons he can't ignore. The choice of the crane, a symbol of peace used as a call to conflict, speaks volumes about the moral complexity of the story.
Following a trail of these black cranes, Takeda meets the Kage elder. A woman described as ancient and formidable as the forest itself.
Oh.
And here's where things get really interesting.
Oh.
The Kage elder reveals that a rival ninja clan is after ancient scrolls in their possession. Scrolls that could bring chaos if they fall into the wrong hands.
Yeah.
And guess what? Those scrolls are hidden somewhere in Oakville.
Suddenly, the scope of the story expands. We go from petty robberies to a larger conflict, a brewing war between ninja clans.
Wow.
The stakes are higher, and the fate of Oakville is intertwined with Takeda's past in a way he never could have imagined.
Right.
And now he faces an impossible choice: run again or stand and fight.
Wow.
What do you think he chooses?
Well, knowing Takeda, he's not one to back down from a challenge, especially when innocent lives are at stake. But I'm dying to know how he plans to pull this off.
Yep.
Will he side with the Kage clan?
Right.
Or will he find another way to protect Oakville? We'll have to wait until part 2 to find out.
Don't forget to rate and follow the Cowboys vs. Ninjas podcast for more amazing stories.
Yeah?
Join us next time for the continuation of this thrilling saga.
Sounds good. Welcome back, folks, to the Cowboys vs. Ninjas podcast, where we're unraveling the tale of Sheriff Takeda, the ninja-turned-lawman who finds himself caught between two worlds.
Last time we left Takeda at a crossroads.
Right.
Protect Oakville from a rival ninja clan by joining forces with his former enemies, the Kage. Or find another way.
Yeah.
It's a classic dilemma: duty versus personal peace, the past clashing with the present.
Takeda can't escape who he is, but he can choose how to use his skills.
Right.
But how does a ninja operate in a Wild West town? This isn't feudal Japan.
Right.
There's no sneaking over castle walls.
That's what makes this story so captivating. The author forces us to think outside the box, to imagine how ancient ninja techniques could be adapted to a completely different environment.
Right.
Instead of disappearing in a puff of smoke, maybe Takeda uses the cover of a dust storm. And those old mine shafts we talked about, they could become his secret passages.
Oh, wow.
His underground network.
So he's turning the environment to his advantage, like a true ninja. But what about fighting?
Yeah.
He can't exactly pull out a katana in a saloon brawl without raising a few eyebrows.
Right. Instead of relying on traditional weapons, he might have to improvise using everyday objects, a rope, a chair, even a poker as a weapon.
Really?
It's about quick, precise strikes disguised as barroom brawling.
Ooh.
Remember, ninjas are masters of blending in, of using deception to their advantage.
So it's less about flashy moves and more about effectiveness, using the element of surprise.
Exactly.
What are some of the psychological tactics Takeda might use to gain an advantage?
Ninjas were known for their psychological warfare. Imagine Takeda utilizing misdirection, setting traps, creating diversions to lead his opponents astray.
Wow.
He could even plant rumors, playing on the rival clan's superstitions and fears.
Really?
It's all about outsmarting the opponent, not just overpowering them.
You're making me see those old Western tropes in a whole new light? Maybe some of those mysterious gunslingers had a bit of ninja in them?
Now you're getting it.
Yeah.
It's all about blending those worlds, finding those unexpected connections.
But even with all his skills, Takeda still needs to find those scrolls before the rival clan does. Where does he even begin? Right. They could be hidden anywhere.
Remember, Takeda knows the Kage's ways.
Yeah.
He was trained by them.
Right.
He knows their patterns, their hiding places. He might look for subtle markings, coded messages hidden in plain sight.
Oh.
Think of it like a treasure hunt, but with deadly consequences.
So like a race against time, a battle of wits between Takeda and the rival ninja. And he's doing all of this while maintaining his cover as the sheriff.
Right.
The pressure must be immense.
It is.
It makes me wonder, how much of Takeda's past does Oakville know? Do they suspect anything? Are there whispers about their sheriff's unusual abilities?
The story leaves that open to interpretation, which adds another layer of intrigue. It makes us think about how much we truly know about the people around us.
Yeah.
Maybe some folks have noticed Takeda's uncanny knack for being in the right place at the right time, his sharp observation skills, his almost supernatural awareness of his surroundings. Maybe they whispered tales of a shadow protector, a guardian spirit watching over Oakville.
That adds a whole new dimension to the story.
Right.
It blends the grit of the Wild West with the mystique of ninja lore. But this begs the question, how do you think this conflict will eventually come to a head? Will it be a grand showdown, a classic Western shootout in the middle of town?
I don't think so.
Oh.
Given Takeda's character, his desire to protect Oakville and maintain his cover, a loud, explosive confrontation seems unlikely.
Okay.
Remember, ninjas are all about precision, about achieving their objectives with minimal collateral damage.
So maybe a more strategic approach?
Right.
Disabling the enemy before they even realize what hit them? Setting traps, using misdirection, turning their own tactics against them.
Exactly. It's about outsmarting the opponent, not overpowering them. Think of it like a chess match played out in the shadows of a Wild West town where each move has far-reaching consequences.
This is what I love about this story.
Yeah.
It takes familiar tropes and turns them on their head, blended action, mystery, and a touch of folklore. Takeda isn't just a fighter. He's a protector, a silent guardian, and a symbol of adaptation.
He embodies the best of both worlds. The stoicism and discipline of a ninja and the grit and determination of a Western hero.
Right.
He shows us that it's not about where you come from, but what you choose to fight for.
This is getting me pumped for the final showdown. How will Takeda use his unique skills to ensure the safety of Oakville and those he cares about? Join us for the thrilling conclusion in part 3 of the Cowboys vs. Ninjas podcast.
Yes.
Don't forget to rate and follow so you don't miss a single episode. Howdy, partners, and welcome back to the Cowboys vs. Ninjas podcast. It's time for the final showdown in Oakville, where East meets West in a battle for the ages.
We left our ninja sheriff, Takeda, with a challenge unlike any he'd faced before.
Right.
Protecting Oakville from those shadowy rivals while keeping his true identity under wraps.
Yeah, it's a high-stakes game of cat and mouse with the fate of Oakville hanging in the balance.
And let's not forget what those ninjas are after those ancient scrolls.
Oh, yeah.
Powerful artifacts that could cause serious trouble if they fall into the wrong hands.
Takeda's seen firsthand the kind of chaos these scrolls can unleash.
That's right. He understands the gravity of the situation. You can't just round up these ninjas and throw them in jail. These are highly trained operatives, practically ghosts who vanish into thin air. It's like trying to catch smoke.
So how does he even begin to stop them? How do you fight an enemy you can't even see?
By thinking like them.
Okay.
Takeda has to use his own ninja skills, his understanding of their tactics and mindset to outwit and outmaneuver them. He was once one of them, remember? Right. He knows their strengths, their weaknesses, and their patterns of thinking.
Okay, so he knows how they think. But how does he actually combat them?
Yeah.
We're talking about a small Wild West town, not a feudal Japanese castle. Not exactly ninja-friendly terrain, is it?
That's the beauty of it. Takeda has to be resourceful, turning everyday objects into weapons and using the natural landscape to his advantage. Remember those old mine shafts we talked about?
Yeah, they could become his secret passages, allowing him to move unseen beneath the town.
Exactly.
He's practically turning Oakville into his own personal ninja playground. But what about the townsfolk? Are they completely oblivious to this secret war happening right under their noses?
that's one of the most intriguing aspects of the story. The author leaves it up to our imagination.
Yeah.
Perhaps some folks have noticed Takeda's unusual abilities.
Right, like his uncanny knack for being in the right place at the right time.
Yes, or his sharp, almost unsettling observation skills.
Maybe there are whispers about a shadowy protector, a guardian spirit watching over Oakville.
Exactly. It's like a Wild West version of a ninja legend, adding a layer of folklore and mystique to the story.
Okay, back to the showdown.
All right.
We know Takeda is a skilled fighter, but these rival ninjas are no slouches either.
Right.
How does he gain the upper hand?
Remember, ninjas aren't just about brute force. They're masters of strategy, deception, and psychological warfare. Takeda might use misdirection set and traps and leading them on a wild goose chase through Oakville. He could even use their own beliefs against them, playing on their superstitions and fears.
So he's using their own tactics against them, turning their strengths into weaknesses. That's classic ninja thinking.
And let's not forget the element of surprise. These rivals are expecting a typical Western lawman, someone predictable and easily outmatched. They underestimate Takeda's true abilities, which ultimately leads to their downfall.
It's not just a physical fight. It's a battle of wits, a clash of styles, a fusion of East and West. And that's what makes this story so unique and exciting.
In the end, I believe Takeda achieves his goal. He protects, Oakville retrieves the scrolls, and sends those rival ninjas packing all without revealing his true identity to the townsfolk. He becomes their silent guardian, their unseen protector.
What a finale. It leaves us with a sense of wonder, a feeling that there's more to this world than meets the eye. Maybe there are ninjas hiding in plain sight all around us.
That's the magic of storytelling. It opens our minds to possibilities, makes us question what we think we know. And that's what we do here at the Cowboys versus Ninjas podcast.
We explore the thrilling world where samurai and six-shooters collide, bringing you epic tales that blend history, fantasy, and good old-fashioned adventure. Don't forget to rate and follow us for more amazing stories every day.
Until next time, partners, keep your spurs sharp and your senses keen. You never know when adventure might be lurking around the corner.